So, you want to memorize the ice staff code. This video will teach you how to memorize the ice and fire staff codes quickly and in a way you won't forget it. Understanding the symbols is the key to memorizing them, but you will need an in-depth knowledge of how numbers work. This will be the first section of the video. Everything will be timestamped in the description, but the explanation establishes the terminology that I will be using, so it is worth watching. Also, this will be the first video where I start a new system where I make a list of reasons to subscribe to my channel. I will add another reason to subscribe in every video in an attempt to add a little creativity to the call to action. Reason number 1, it helps the channel grow. Alrighty, back to the video. Now you have probably heard that we use the base 10 number system, but what does that mean? I would like you to envision the number 115. Now make every digit be its own column. Now you have a 1, and a 5. What do each of these numbers represent? From left to right, we know the first one represents 100 because it is a 1 and it's in the hundreds place. We know the second one represents 10 because it is in the tens place. We know the 5 represents 5 because it's in the ones place. This has become natural to think of all numbers this way. It may seem like this is insanely simple and doesn't need to be said, but it is important that we notice how we are taking the number and multiplying by the multiplier for the column. Now we need to define terms because it's about to get a lot more complicated. When I say column value, I am talking about the value of a number in a specified column. This would be the 100, the 10, or the 5 in our 115 example. When I say digit value, I'm talking about the number that is in a column, just the 1, or the 5. When I say multiplier, I'm talking about the value you multiply the digit value by to get the column value, the times 100, the times 10, and the times 1 in our example. When I say number value, I am referring to the value of the entire number. This number will always be in base 10. It is also now important to know what the base of a number is. It is the number of unique digits that can be in a column. That means that in base 10, we have 10 digits that can be represented in one column. You may be confused because we can only go up to 9 before using a second column. This is because zeros also counted as a digit. Going forward, any number we use will have the base notated in subscript to the right of the number. Before we leave base 10, we need to understand where the multipliers come from. The rightmost column is always the base to the 0th power. Any number to the 0th power is 1. Therefore, the rightmost column always has a multiplier of 1. Moving left, to get all the multipliers, all you do is add 1 to the exponent above the base for each column move left. So in base 10, from right to left, the multipliers go from 1 to 10 to 100 to 1000. Now for the hard part, numbers in different bases. We will only be looking at base 3 and base 4 because they are the most relevant for the ice staff. How about we look at the number 122 in base 3 and base 4? First thing we need to do is find out the multipliers. Starting with base 3, we take 3 to the 0th, which is 1, 3 to the 1st, which is 3, 3 to the 2nd, which is 9. Now we multiply the digit value with the multipliers to get the column values. When we add the column values, we get the number value. Now we have converted a base 3 number into a base 10 number. Now for base 4. First we find the multipliers. 4 to the 0th is 1, 4 to the 1st is 4, 4 to the 2nd is 16. Now we multiply the digit values and the multipliers to get the column values. Now add the column values to get the number value. Now we can convert a base 3 and base 4 number into a base 10 number. You may not believe this, but you're just one easy step away from knowing the fire staff code. Now we need to connect our new knowledge with the game. Here is the game changer piece of information. The ice codes, and by extension the fire codes, represent numbers. We have a couple terms to cover. Ternary symbols are the symbols with circles, and cuneiform symbols are the symbols with lines and triangles. The ternary symbols are base 3, the cuneiform symbols are base 4. You can directly change the symbols into a number. Let's take a look at what each symbol represents. Ternary symbols first. Remember that we are looking at columns and to start at 0. The non-filled-in circle represents a 0, a single filled-in circle represents a 1, and 2 filled circles stacked on top of each other represents a 2. On screen, you see the number 122, base 3, written out with the ternary symbols. Next, the cuneiform symbols. The triangle is a 0, the triangle with a line is a 1, the L shape is a 2, and the F shape is a 3. On screen, you see the number 122, base 4, written out with the cuneiform symbols. Now we can finally get to the process you will need to perform in-game. The fire staff is as simple as converting the ternary symbols into a base 10 number. All you have to do is change the symbols into the corresponding base 3 numbers, multiply by the multipliers, and add all the column values together. Very easy. For the I-staff, you must first take your ternary symbol and convert it to its numeral equivalent in base 3. Next, you convert it to a decimal base 10 number. You simply take the digit values, multiply them by the multipliers, and add the column values together. You can easily do this in your head because the highest number you have to work with as a multiplier is 9. Once you have the number value, you can start converting the number into base 4. First, you think of the multipliers. They will be 1 and 4. Note that there are no 3-digit cuneiform numbers needed. Then you think of how many complete 4s fit in your number. You put that number in the 4's place. Then you subtract the column value from the 4's place from the number value. Take the rest of your number value and put it in the 1's place. It should be less than 4. The last step is to convert the base 4 number into the cuneiform symbols. Now for some examples. Let's start with filled-in circle, non-filled in circle, filled-in circle. We know the multipliers for base 3 are 1, 3, and 9. 9 times 1 is 9, 3 times 0 is 0, 1 times 1 is 1. Adding them up, it becomes 10. We then have the base 10 number that must become base 4 number. We can work backwards and divide by the multipliers instead of multiplying. We must also work from left to right while doing so. The furthest left multiplier we can have is a 4. We can fit 2 4s in 10, so our leftmost number is 2. The 2 4s combined are 8 of the 10. We can just put the remaining 2 into the 1's place and we are done. Our base 4 number is 22. Just turning that number into symbols finishes the job and tells you the symbol to shoot. In this case, it is 2 L-shaped symbols. For another example, let's go with 2 filled-in circles on top of each other and non-filled-in circle. It represents 20 base 3. The multipliers are 1 and 3. 2 times 3 is 6, 0 times 1 is 0. Add them up and you get 6. There is one complete 4 in 6, so the leftmost digit is 1. 6 minus 4 is 2, and that goes in the 1's place. That gives us 12 base 4. Converting that to symbols, we get triangle with a line and an L shape. I hope you were able to gain a new skill through this video. It was a very complex topic, so good job if you were able to understand it. If you have any confusion, just send a comment. I will respond to every comment with the most useful information I am capable of giving. Although it is probably easier to just memorize the symbol chart, this video's method is much harder to forget. As long as you can remember how numbers work, you can derive all of the processes in your head. Alright, good luck, have a great day.